Hello, good evening everyone. Myself Arnab Ganguly, Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering Department in Gargi Memorial Institute of Technology College. Today I am going to take the class of Electrical and Electronics Measurement. Our topic is electrostatic instruments. Already in the analog meters part, we have covered the different types of meters like PMMC, moving iron, electrodynamometer types instruments, rectifier type instruments, thermal instruments, etc. And today we conclude the analog meters part of the syllabus by discussing the electrostatic instruments. Now, what is electrostatic instruments? So already previously we have discussed the different types of meters and instruments and we already covered the concepts of deflecting torque, controlling torque, etc. and the advantage, disadvantage, working principles, etc. for the other different meters. Now, for electrostatic instruments, the main principle is that the deflection torque is produced by the electric field action on the charged conductor. That means there is some charged conductors on which action of electric field occurs, and for that reason a deflection torque generates. Now, from the point of view of the analog meters, that obviously when we are considering about the deflection type instruments, the deflection torque generations is the main motto of the instruments, and by that, to generate the deflection torque, the meters are going to indicate the values of current or voltage which is to be measured. Now, the other principles is for the electrostatic instruments is that the force of attraction between the electric charge on the neighboring plates between which the potential difference is maintained. Now, from this point actually we are going to discuss about the different neighboring plates. If we are considering two plates, here see the diagram, here that is a fixed plate and that is a movable plate, and this movable plate is attached to a spring. So you can see that these two plates is acting like a charged conductor, and this is the positive charge and this is the negative charge. So we know that when there are two different charges for these two plates, then obviously there is a force of attraction. Now, when there is a force of attraction, what happens? The fixed plate is obviously should be fixed, and the movable plate is going to move towards the fixed plates due to these attractions, and that is we actually called about the force of attractions. And when this force of attractions occurs between two plates, obviously there will be a rise of a deflecting torque or a force for which the movable plate is going to move towards the fixed plate. Now, when we are considering about the motion, then we can see that there is two type of motions. One is linear motions, another is rotational motions, and depending on that we have to do the calculations of the deflecting torques. Now, when we are considering about a capacitor, then we can know that if we are considering about two plates, two charged conductor, that means there is some capacitance between these two plates, and when there is a displacement of one plate, obviously the capacitance goes to vary. The capacitance varies. So actually this mechanism resembles us as a variable capacitor. So actually we are considering about a variable capacitor. Now suppose for electrostatic instrument, this is the two plates configurations. This is fixed plate and this is movable plate. Now between these two plates there is a capacitance, that is C, and we know that the energy stored formula, if a voltage V is applied in this part, then the energy stored obviously will be half CV square. And due to this voltage applications, that means there is a electric field actions and obviously a deflection torque produced, and this movable plate is going to move towards the fixed plates unless this force is balanced by the spring. Now suppose an increment of voltage occurs in this region. Up to now applied voltage is V. So when there is an increment of voltage, that means this voltage increment, the V is going to change to dV. The dV is the voltage increment. And for this voltage increment, obviously there is a force, there is a deflection torque produced, and the plate moved by a distance of dx, that means a small distance increment. And obviously as the force is increased, so the movable plate is going to move a distance towards the fixed plate due to the attraction force. Now we know that the capacitance current, that means I, equal to what is current? That is the dq dt, because q is the charge. So I equal to dq dt, and we know that that is a very basic formula, that this is q equal to CV. So if q equal to CV and I equal to dq dt, that means d dt of CV. So if that is d dt of CV and we do the differentiations, then what happens? That is C dv dt plus V dc dt. That is very common. That is C dv dt and V dc dt part. Now we know about the energy input. So what is energy input? We know that energy as a voltage into current into the time factor. So the energy input will be VI dt. So VI dt means, see, we already get I. So we obviously multiplying this factor with V dt to get the VI dt term. So VI dt will be, see, if we are going to do the multiplications there by V dt, what happens? So for this term, that is V square dc, and dt dt will be cancelled, that means V square dc, and for this term, that is CV dV, again dt will be cancelled. See, we are going to multiplying this factor with V dt, because that is I we get, so we are going to multiply this with V dt. So if we are doing the multiplication, that is our output, that is V square dc plus CV dV. That means this is the energy inputs of the systems. Now what is the change in stored energy? Because as there is a increment of applied voltage, so obviously there is a change in stored energy in the system. So what is change in stored energy? We already know that our initial energy stored is written by half CV square. So when that is going to change, there is a small increment in energy. How you can write that? You can write that C is going to C plus dc, that means the increment of capacitance, and V is going to V plus dV, that means the increment of applied voltage. So that means half C plus dc into V plus dV square, that means half CV square is going to change, that is C plus dc, that is the increment of capacitance, V plus dV, the increment of voltage square, minus the initial stored energy, that means half CV square. So if we do these mathematical calculations, what happens? See, half C plus dc, so V plus dV square means What is this? V square plus 2V dV plus dV square, that means A plus B whole square formula, minus half CV square. So now multiplying these two factors, what happens? See, CV square CV dV, then CdV square plus V square dC plus 2V dV dC plus V square dC. So this is the multiplying output of this system minus half CV square. So this is the initial energy. So what happens? That we actually going to do the multiplications. So by doing the multiplications, what is the output? See, CV square, C into V square, that means CV square. Then the next term is C into 2V dV, that means 2 VC dC. Then C V square, CdV square, this is CdV square. Then what happens? V square dC. Then what happens? 2V dV dC. And lastly, that is dV square dC. So now after doing all the multiplications of these, then if you are neglecting the higher order terms, what is higher order terms? See, higher order terms means when there is a double differentiations or something like that, we can neglect that higher order terms, because for the double differentiations term, that means they are the smaller quantities. So if we are considering that, see, half CV square and half CV square will be cancelled out. What will be the output? Half V square dC plus CV dV, half V square dC plus CV dV, and others higher order terms actually we are doing neglecting because they are the smaller quantities. So this is our final output. Now from the law of conservation of energy, what happens? The energy input, we know that energy input will be the increase in energy stored plus mechanical work, because as per the conservation of energy, that means the inputs outputs will be equal. So the energy input equal to increase in energy stored plus mechanical work done. So what is our energy input? Our energy input is this. See, this is our energy input, that is V square dC plus CV dV. What is the increase in energy stored? See, change in stored energy, that is half V square dC plus CV dV. And what is the mechanical done? Mechanical work done? Mechanical work done means due to this increment of voltage and capacitance, obviously there will be an increment of force and there will be a movement of the movable plate to the fixed plate, that is dx. Already we have mentioned that plate moved by a distance dx and the force F is increased. So what will be the mechanical work done? That is F into dx. So if we considering this is our next equations, that is V square dC plus CV dV. This is the energy input, already we get equal to half V square dC plus CV dV, that is the change in stored energy, plus F dx, that is the force, that is the mechanical work done. Now if we considering this, see, this CV dV term and this CV dV term will be cancelled out. So half V square dC equal to F dx. So what will be F? That is equal to half V square dC dx Newton. So this is the actual force for which, that is the attraction force for which the moving plate is going towards the fixed plate. Now if we are considering about a rotational motion, see this diagram, suppose this is the fixed plate and this is the moving plate and the spring is attached here, and the moving plate is moving in a rotational motion, that means there is a angular motion, the angle is theta. So due to this angle, Then for the rotational motion, if we considering about this force, we are replacing it by the concept of torque, that is deflecting torque TD. So that TD equal to half V square dc, and this dx will be replaced by d theta, because this is a angular motion, rotational motion. So that is half V square dc d theta. Now we already know in our previous lessons that the spring constant, we considering about the controlling torque part. So for the spring instrument, the controlling torque is Tc equal to k theta, where the k is the spring constant and that is dependent on the diameters and the materials of the springs. So at the steady deflection state, what happens? Td equal to Tc. So half V square dc d theta equal to k theta, because Td equal to, already we get that half V square dc d theta, and Tc equal to k theta. So half V square dc d theta equal to k theta. Then theta will be half V square by k dc d theta. That means this is the final output of angle of deflections, that is dependent on the square of applied voltage term. So as it is proportional to the square of the applied voltage, that means it can be used for AC/DC both. And another conclusion is that as it is proportional with a voltage square, that means this is a square law, square scale type response, and as this is a square response, square scale type response, so obviously the scaling of this instrument, the scale of this instrument obviously will be non-uniform, as this is not proportional to the voltage but proportional to the voltage square. So obviously this deflection angle proportional to the voltage square, and the scale is non-uniform, that means cramped towards the end. So this is the drawback of this instrument, as it is, the scale is non-uniform type. Now again, if we do the calculations part once more, see, again you can see the energy input Vi dt equal to V square dc plus Cv dV. Already we can get that, that is I, and if we are considering the multiplications by V dt, so that is V square dc plus Cv dV. Then the change in stored energy. What is the change in stored energy? That is C plus dc into V plus dV square minus half Cv square. So that is half C plus dc V square plus 2V dV plus dV square minus half Cv square. Now what happens? See, we are doing the multiplications. Cv square, then 2Cv dV, 2Cv dV again. Now C d V square dc, then 2V dV dc, 2V dV dc, then that is dc dV square, dc dV square. So that is dc dV square. Now you can say that half Cv square minus half Cv square is cancelled out, and that is 2 cancelled out, that is Cv dV. This is the Cv dV part. Then half C dV square, C dV square, C, that is dV square, that means the higher order differential terms, dV square. So we can neglect it. Then the next term is half V square dc, we considered it. Now 2V dV dc, dV dc means again that is a higher order term, we can neglect, because when there is a higher order differentiation, that means this is a smaller part, smaller quantity, so we can neglect. Then half dV square dc, again a higher order term we are going to neglect. So the final output is half V square dc plus Cv dV. And From that, the law of conservation of energy, that is energy input equal to increase in energy stored plus mechanical work done, and from these concepts now the V square dc plus CV dV equal to half V square dc plus CV dV plus F dx, that is we are considering from the previous part, and from this we are doing the calculations of force, and then for the rotational motion, that is the deflecting torque. And here the theta angle of deflections depend on the applied voltage square of the applied voltage. So the scale is a non-uniform type scale. Now there is two types of electrostatic instrument. One is attracted disc type, that is working up to 500 kV. Actually this type of instrument, when we are considering about electrostatic instrument, they are working for the higher voltage, not for the lower voltage. Actually for a lower applied voltage the force is too much small, so it is only applicable for higher order voltage. Quadrant type electrostatic instrument, that is up to 20 kV, this is its range. Now the advantage of this instrument, that is suitable for both AC and DC measurement, already we have discussed. Measuring the RMS value, free from hysteresis and eddy current errors, because it is free from hysteresis eddy current errors as there is no iron parts, and as it draws a negligible power, so no heating error occurs. These are the advantages of this instrument. And the disadvantage, the main disadvantage is that the normal electrostatics instruments, for the less than 500 volt, it can generate a very much low deflecting torque and it cannot indicate the value. Actually electrostatic instrument applicable as a voltmeter primarily, and it is not applicable in the industrial part. Actually it is used in the laboratory experiments. So for up to 500 volt, less than 500 volt, it is produced very much low deflecting torque, and so this is a disadvantage of these meters. But there is a exceptions. Actually we are later discussing about that, the Kelvin multicellular voltmeter. So this type of voltmeter actually can can sense from 30 volt onwards. So this is an exception, but the other electrostatic instrument cannot operate nicely for less than 500 volt. That is a fragile and expensive. And another disadvantage, that is a very much disadvantage of the meter, that is non-uniform scale. As it is the theta is proportional to the square of the voltage, so that is a non-uniform field cramped towards the end parts, and so the measurements of voltage and the parameters will be complicated there. So today we have discussed all about the torque equations, the force equations, and the principles of the electrostatic instruments, the types, the advantage and the disadvantage. Now in the later class, next classes, we will discuss about the working principles of attracted disc type and quadrant type meters, how it will do the functions, and by that we will conclude the analog meters part. So thank you.